Docstar version 3.13 End User Tips and Frequently Asked Questions, Part 2. This session will focus on tips and suggestions for various parts of your Docstar software. The goal is to help make the program more efficient for you and your end users. Let's begin. The first part we'd like to talk about is importing documents electronically from your PC. There are three ways to accomplish this. The first way is what we call the drag and drop. From your desktop, you can browse to a folder. Here I have just a sample folder, but I could choose any folder. Out on a network drive, a local drive, wherever you have your documents stored, browse to that folder, select the document or documents, and then you can click and drag onto the desktop icon of Docstar. By clicking and dragging onto that and releasing, you'll notice the import window comes up for Docstar. From here you can choose your template. Then you have your similar selections to the scan window if you're familiar with scanning. You can choose whether to file later and have it go to an inbox, or you can say file automatically, import. It's now going to import that document in, shows me the document, and allows me to start the filing process. And files that document. That's the first way. The second way is when you're in the application itself, you can go up to Docstar, import files, or if you choose to use the shortcut keys, you can use the Control-I key, Control-I on your keyboard. It then brings up the window where you can browse to your selections. So I can browse to, again, a network drive. I can browse to a local drive here on my computer. Select the document or documents. And then you'll notice that same import window comes up. Choose my template, choose my filing preference, and import the documents in. The third way you can do the importing of getting documents in is we can create a hot folder. I have a hot folder here on my desktop. It's useful for you end users if they want to have a folder on their desktop. They can save items to this folder. We use a program called Auto Import. Docstar is programmed to watch this, similar to the way we set up your copiers. If you're a company that has scanning to a network folder, this works in the same fashion. It's a folder or a hot folder on your desktop or on a network drive. When I choose a document, once it hits that folder, Docstar is watching this folder. Within a couple seconds, it's now swept that document out of there, and we've defined within the software to import it into a user's inbox. Now that document's sitting in that inbox, and it's waiting to be filed. So another way to use the software to import electronic documents is saving to a folder, a hot folder. The auto import process then imports the document in to a defined inbox. The document's now in here and ready to be filed using the auto file, and it has the default template selected as well that user might choose. So those are three ways to choose have documents brought in electronically. The next piece I'd like to mention is the ability to have an audit trail and how to find an audit trail. On documents as they've been filed, part of being a legal document is some clients have asked, how do I see the audit trail on a particular document? I simply select my document. Here in this case I have a form selected. I go up to View and Show Audit Trail, or I have my hotkey. Click on that. It is now allowing me to see all the all the actions that have been done on that document. I can select by user, by action. Also I can select by date ranges. It will then display all the actions within the audit trail, what's been done, which workstation it happened by, which user, what they've done. In this case, it was printed on this date and time by this user, and allows you to see all the changes within the document. The next feature I'd like to speak about is the My Windows feature, which has been asked. This My Windows feature you'll see on this left navigation panel, My Windows. It allows me to see all the windows that I have open. So right now I have the inbox open. If I want to go back to this particular document, I simply click there. It brings me right to that document. If I get a phone call and I need to now retrieve another document, I can go to retrieve, do my search, open up that document, and you'll notice I have all my windows still open. I can then go back to this particular user or this particular document. Once I'm done with all my searching or using the Docstar to release the licenses, I can right click on the My Windows and then choose Close All. This will then close all my windows out and bring me back to the main screen of Docstar, thus releasing all my file and view licensing. The next piece I'd like to speak about is the Save Searches feature, which is in the Retrieve tab. When I go to Retrieve, I can set up particular, maybe there's certain search criteria I'd like to do. Maybe it's a weekly report, or you want to see all the invoices filed in a particular time frame. So if you find yourself doing repetitive searches, you can create that search. Here, I'll create a quick one. Show me everything filed in the last 30 days, all the applications. I work in an HR department potentially, and I want to see all applications filed within the last 30 days. Okay. So if this is a repetitive search I do, filed in the last 30 days, all the applications, I come up here to Save Searches, and I can choose Add to Favorites. Clicking on that, it has now added that as a favorite over here in my icon under the left navigation panel. It's a Save Search. What I would choose to do now from here is I can right-click on this, and I can rename this. Call it 30-day application. And there we go. Now, no matter where I am in the software, I have this tab. I can simply click on it, and it brings up that query, and I can just hit retrieve. And anytime, it'll bring up all the things that are filed under that criteria that I selected. Once I'm done with that, I can right-click and I can remove it. It removes that favorite. If this is something I want to send to someone internally, I want someone else within my department or another person to see this query, I can go up to Save Searches and I can choose Email. It'll then open up my email client. And allow me to send off that email. So now it sends this to, I can then choose who I want to send it to. It then has this hyperlink where I can send that to the person internally who has Docstar. They click on it, and it brings them to the same search criteria that I'm looking at. So a very handy tool for moving documents around the office without having to do attachments, large attachments, document attachments within Outlook or your email client. I simply retrieve it within Docstar, and then I can email it to the person. And it'll open up the Outlook form and allow me to then send off to someone internally. I can change the subject, change the body, etc. The last piece I'd like to talk to you on as far as this section, part 2, is the ability to use annotations as bookmarks and also show hits and find parts of documents that might be useful to a particular end user. When I have a document open, in this case I have a 51-page document. If you're filing, and I want to show you this example that's on page 36, so I go to page 36, I have put an annotation by using this annotation toolbar. I put a little sticky note on here for the word expired form. So maybe on this document within this 51 pages, on page 36, this is an expired form. So I want to bookmark this page. Any of these text annotations you're doing, make it searchable. One of the benefits here is I can designate this document as an expired form or designate this page as an expired form. Now when I go to retrieve, if I choose retrieve, I can type in expired form. It then finds that document, and I can go up here to view, show hits, and it brings me right to the specific page where it found that expired form. So if you're using annotations and you find the benefit for using it as a bookmark, you can do your annotation, and then it's now retrievable by that text. I'll show that process again. If I mark up a document here, we'll pull up this document. and I'll go to page 8, let's say. Page 8, I want to repeat that process. I want to put a little sticky note right there that says expired form. Save my changes. Now that that document's filed, when I choose to retrieve expired form, I now have both documents, the one I showed prior and now the recently filed one. And again, I go up to View, Show Hits, and it brings me to page 8 where I can see my expired form. So a real quick way to get through if you find yourself using bookmarks, if you have large documents and you need to bookmark certain pages with certain text, use the annotation tool and do the show hits. It allows you to get to parts of your document quicker. Thank you and please review our other how-to Docstar documents and videos.